In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie.
The two of you obviously look like you're very fit. Keep yourselves healthy on the road. What are some of the tricks that either of you can pass on to the listeners to stay healthy, not just on the road, but at home as well?
I mean, I'm curious, Kane, you've been back now with Alice Cooper for one show.
Yeah.
What's your plan for working out? How do you plan on maintaining it?
Well, back in the day, I had my crew bring along a pull down machine, a whole rack thing, and a bench, and I had like 315, maybe weights, all these plates and everything, and I did that for about a week, and then I just looked at the crew and I said, they don't fucking need this bullshit. So I said, don't bring that stuff out. So I started, if we did like a 24-hour drive. The rest of the band would get a candy bar and go to bed, and Alice would play golf, and I'd find like Frankie's Iron Shop in Chicago or something like that. And when I went to see Doyle, he had like all his dumbbells with him and everything. And I was just thinking, like, I don't know how many people do that. And of course, you got to keep your eye on your diet. And in your camp, your mom and Doyle and you started getting me into vegan, and what has started to happen is it's some of the most unbelievable food, because that's the thing with me. When I went to Japan, everybody was like, oh, they probably eat a lot of sushi. And well, they eat a lot of different food. They eat sushi once in a while. And so I started getting into that. So, of course, you hit the gym when you can. So like sometimes, right. Don't you feel awful when there's like a 3-day run and you can't get into a gym or you can't do your normal routine? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I actually do the same thing as Doyle. So I have gotten into this space where my at-home workouts are exactly the same as my on-the-road workouts, because I also just bring the dumbbells and a yoga mat. Yeah, well, it's power blocks. So not to like, put an ad here or whatever, but like power blocks, they take up such a small amount of space because
right.
they're just, and you can adjust the weight in like 2.5 or 5 pound increments depending on the set that you have. And so for I like to do a lot of just like no break workouts. So I'll just do like supersets, and I'll go like straight from like circuits, like a circuit basically.
Sure.
And that I can do kind of anywhere as long as I have those weights.
Right.
So I'll set that up backstage or sometimes just, around the backstage, depending on the layout of the venue. My drummer uses them too. If there's no space, which does happen, sometimes I can't get that workout in because there's just no space to do it. And that does suck because the show, I don't know if you're feeling like the hangover of the show, but you think you're in shape until you go play a show, and then you realize
it takes a few to get under the belt, right? Well, you're back into show form.
Yeah,
I get it.
I told Alice last night, after the first show, I said the first 5 songs I was like running around because they want me to hit these different marks and everything. I was completely dead after the 5th song. I was going to, I just got to stand here now, There's
a lot of stuff. I mean, he's got a big head. Don't worry. You know this. He's got a very nice large cranium, and he's a sniper's dream. But at the same time, he's got a lot going on. He's got notes, and he's got us. He's got me whispering in his ear, "Stage right now, during the solo." And then he's got and he's got Tommy over there. Go get over there, and then he's got. Oh, by the way, he's got to watch out for a sword that's always being wielded by Alice, and a whip that's always being thrown around by Cheryl, Alice's wife, who's in the show. And ask Kane how that whip felt when he got hit with it.
Doyle said to me, "Hey, Kane, are you part of the Big Head Club?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And he goes, "Welcome to the club." He has like a stop sign. You know what I mean? So I can't, but the first show I got hit in the face with a whip. And I'm not kidding you. And then I fell almost completely into this baby carriage. And then I was supposed to catch a corsage of roses, and I forgot, and it bounced off my head. It was a fantastic
easy target.
Fantastic
easy
show.
target. It's not.
Yeah. So I just went, "Hey, can I get the next flight home, or what do you guys think?"
Oh man.
We're not like an arch enemy show where you have to watch out for the flamethrowers and sort of the CO2 tanks. You just have to watch out for baby carriages
and whips
and whips.
And whips. Okay. And a guillotine as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
if he gets his head into that, then we're really in
Can I
trouble.
go here? Yeah.
So the
Is
thing
this my spot?
You mentioned Doyle because obviously the two Doyle and Kane are bros, but you've been together with Doyle for many years. That's another thing besides health and fitness on the road, relationships on the road. How do you're both in successful touring bands, which means that's a great thing, but it also means a lot of time apart. How are you able to deal with that? And so give me some points so I can FaceTime my wife right after this and start using those.
I mean, I think it's, I wouldn't say I'm qualified to be a relationship coach by any means, but I think that a lot of it comes down to just having your goals aligned. Like the people in the relationship have to have their goals aligned, and we definitely do. I remember when I was a teenager and just starting to get into bands, and you do that thing with your bros in the band, and you're like, all right, so band before everything, before girlfriends, before boyfriends, before school, before work, band before everything. And I committed to that, and I never broke away from it. Essentially, I just said, any opportunity that I can get with music, I have to take it 1,000%. And I'm still like that. And I also encourage Doyle to be like that, because I think that his band Doyle is really good, really
Awesome.
good. It's like super good music. Yeah. And I'm saying that, of course, I'm biased, but the thing is, I heard his band when I met him, and I wasn't like with him yet, and I already liked it. You know what I mean? So I thought it was a good band before I had a reason to think it was a good band. So I want his band to succeed. I want people to go to their shows. I want him to do well. I love when he plays Misfits shows and it's a sold out arena. So even though it's tough because we don't see each other that much, I'm happy that he's getting to work, and I'm happy that I get to work. And so it's not super easy, but it's worked for like the past almost decade. So I guess it's fine.
The other thing is, you made a really good point, because people always talk about balance in your life and how you think. I always think that obsession, although there is a version of that word that's not good, but it's a good thing, because it shows what you see where the light is, and you just have to keep going towards that. You know what I mean? And other stuff might get neglected, but in your mind, that's not neglect. You know what I mean? It's just you have your life, and then you're smart enough to have your relationship, and your relationship is strong enough, and the understanding is there. So I mean, your career, your music, all the stuff that you do, you really can't look away that often. You have to just constantly stay on it. Yeah, it makes sense.
It's like a priority thing.
Yeah. My philosophy has always been, try not to focus on the time you're apart from each other, and just appreciate the time you are together. Because I do that with Bianca, my wife, and she comes from South Africa. I'm on the road, Europe or US, and we both reside in Stockholm, Sweden. So it's like we have this triangle, and the times that we are together, we really do appreciate those times, because it's not always that often.
Yeah, and I mean, I genuinely, like, if Doyle plays an awesome gig, I feel like I played an awesome gig, or like if he eats some delicious pasta, I feel like I got to eat it, so it's like, you know what I mean? So I'm like,
post food.
So I'm like genuinely happy for him to be going and doing those things, so it doesn't really matter if I'm there or not, because he's getting to do it and I'm getting to also do it. So
But food, health, fitness, relationships, it all seems to be very, very much a part of your orbit. And I know that veganism is very important to you. Have you turned Doyle onto it, or did Doyle turn you onto it? How did it all work out with you becoming vegan?
Yeah, so I mean, Kane knows this already, but I've been vegan since the 90s. So I've been vegan for almost 25 years. And I was vegetarian my whole life before that, because I was raised in a vegetarian household, which is now a vegan household. Like, my family are vegan. And so I was already raised thinking about like what food is and what food isn't. I was raised to read ingredients, know what nutrients are, know what macronutrients are, micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, know what they do for your body. I find that really interesting too. And you know, I started working out when I was 11, you know, and then I was doing karate for a while. I started working at a bodybuilding gym. So health and fitness has always been something that I've been extremely interested in. I studied exercise science. And so when I got together with Doyle, he was not vegan. He was not even vegetarian. And so I explained to him what veganism is, and he was like, oh, okay. And then I explained why I'm vegan. And in my case, it's purely for animal rights, although the health benefits and the lessening of the environmental impact is really nice, and I appreciate that as well. But like the most important thing for me is animal rights. And so I showed Doyle some of the videos that people often, you know, see when they're looking into this stuff, like Vegucated or Earthlings, Cowspiracy, stuff like that. And yeah, a few months later, he basically just told me, like, you know, I've been vegan for like 6 months now, right? And I didn't know, like, I didn't even know that he made the switch, but he made the switch on his own. And you know, he reminds me of this story sometimes, where right at the beginning he was driving me to the airport, I think, and it was like right when we started dating, and we were trying to just catch a meal before going to the airport. We were in New York, and things were closed. It was early, and I was like, well, you get something to eat. I'm fine. Like, we don't have to find something for me. It's okay. And he was like, no, I'm never going to eat without you, and I'm never going to eat something in front of you that you wouldn't eat. And he never did. He never did. Yeah. So now we have the opposite problem, where there's way too many good food options, and we have to like reel it in.
Insane.
You know,
I joined this food service, and you know, they send out the pre-prepared stuff. And I'm just sitting there going, this fucking stuff is delicious. I mean, people have this stigma attached to any change, but they have no idea how amazing the food is. And in a lot of cases, it's better than so-called the non-vegan version of it, like some kind of pasta or whatever, because it's just the technology of it has advanced so much. Have you noticed that? Or
yeah, I mean, when I first went vegan, you know, 20 something years ago, admittedly, there wasn't as many options. And so I didn't care though. I was like, okay, ice cream, never going to have it again. Like, you know, cake, never going to have it again. Doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm not supporting those industries. So I just wrote them off.
Right.
But I think as a result, now, like when I find a vegan cake or like vegan ice cream, I'm like, oh, it's like finding the holy grail. I'm like, oh my God, there it is. I have to eat it, you know? But the thing is,
you know what I mean?
And it's like, it's available everywhere now. It's not even rare, but yeah, there's definitely been like huge increases in the amount of like vegan options available, even in normal grocery stores. You don't have to go to a specialty store, even in small towns. I've been in a ton of small towns, and you go to the grocery store there and there's a whole vegan section. So it's definitely advanced by leaps and bounds, and the food is so good. And especially like, you know, in Stockholm and in California, like there's so many good places to go eat, and Montreal too.
I'm Ryan Roxie, and I've taken all my years of experience of playing guitar, and I want to pass the torch of rock and roll on to you. Check out the System 12 guitar method.